In this video, what we'll do is look at ratios and what you'll need to know for Thursday's piece of assessment. So we're going to basically cover what ratios are. You will have probably seen them and used them at some point, but what we'll do in this video and in class on Monday is just formalize that. So let's have a look. So what is a ratio? So a ratio is a comparison between two or more quantities. Ratios do not have a unit of measurement. Okay, so they're not a comparison in millimeters or centimeters or dollars. The order of the numbers in a ratio is important. The numbers in a ratio should be whole numbers. And ratios can be written as fractions and percentages. Now, a common ratio you might have seen is a ratio of 1 to 1. And that means basically for every one thing, we have the same amount of the other thing. That might be a mix of a drink, perhaps. Okay, so if you're making a drink that needs to be mixed at a ratio of 1 to 1, it might be 1 part cordial to 1 part water. That means for every bit of cordial, imagine this is the cordial that I'm pouring in here, all right, yellow cordial, we would have the same amount of water. So for every part of this, or every one of these, we'd have the equivalent amount. So we're going to have, for whatever this is, we'll have the equivalent amount of, let me find blue here, we'll have the equivalent amount of water. So that's a ratio of 1 to 1. And you might have seen other ratios, 1 to 2. Okay, when I mix fuel for my lawnmower, I mix it at a ratio of 1 to 50. That is 1 part, it's engine oil or 2-stroke mix to 50 parts petrol. Okay, so that's the ratio I mix that in. All right, let's try it out with this example here. So write the ratios. So look, what we're looking at is pineapples to bananas. So let's have a look at how many pineapples we've got. So we've got 1 there and 1 there. So we've got 2 pineapples to how many bananas? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 to 8. Now we can actually write that ratio in a simpler way, because that actually can be written as a ratio of 1 to 4. Okay, and why would we do that? Well, same as fractions, we try to write ratios in its simplest form. Now, how do I simplify a ratio? Well, very similar to fractions. So see this is 2 parts to 8 parts. What we do is we can divide this 2 by 2 and this 8 by 2 to simplify the ratio. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So that is the ratio of pineapples to bananas. It's also 2 to 8, so we could write that, but in its simplest form, it's 1 to 4. Okay, apples to bananas. So where are the apples? Here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5, and we already know that there's 8 bananas, so it's 5 to 8. Now, what we note here is that we can't simplify this ratio, because if we think of numbers that over here, like this example here, we could put 2 into 2 and 2 into 8. The only numbers that we can really put into 5 is 5 and 1, and neither of them will simplify this 8. So actually this ratio of 5 to 8 is its simplest form. Okay, pears to strawberries. So what do we got in terms of pears? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there any more? No. So 4 pears to how many strawberries? 3, 4, 5. What's that? 5 and 6 is 11, and 1 is 12. So 4 to 12. Now we can simplify this ratio. So what we do is we look at the numbers and we think of the highest possible number that goes into both of them, and it's going to be 4. So we divide both of them by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we've got a pears to strawberries ratio of 1 to 3. That means for every 1 pear, we have 3 strawberries. Okay, strawberries to bananas. Okay, so we had, how many strawberries? We had 12 strawberries, and we had 4 bananas. No, 8 bananas, wasn't it? How many bananas were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. So 12 to 8. Now notice that order is important. So strawberries is first, so this number goes first. So it's strawberries to bananas. And we can't reverse it unless we reverse the statement. Okay, so we can't just go strawberries to bananas is also 8 to 12 unless we say it's bananas to strawberries. Right, this again can be simplified. So we can divide 12 by 4 and 8 by 4 to simplify the ratio, which is 3 to 2. So that's correct, but that is more correct. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so we've got some lines here. The ratio of the length of line B to the length of line A is, so here's line B, so it's 6 to 2. Okay, so let's simplify that ratio. So if we divide 6, so if I write that ratio here and I do this, so I divide 6 by 3 and divide 6 by 2 and divide 2 by 2. What I end up with is 6 divided by 2 is 3, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So another way of writing that is 3 to 1. Okay, and what does that mean? It means for every one of these, it's 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so line B is 3 times bigger than line A. Right, the ratio of the length of line C compared to the length of line A, so it's 10 to 2. Now notice I'm not putting any units on there because we don't put units on ratios. Okay, so what I'll do is 2 goes into both of these, so when simplified it's going to be 5 to 1, so it's at a ratio of 5 to 1. That's basically saying that line C is 5 times bigger than line A. Alright, finally, the ratio of the length of line D to the length of line A is, so line D is 18, okay, and line A is 2. Alright, so again what we can do is divide both of them by 2, so that's 9 to 1 when simplified. And essentially what we're saying is line D is 9 times bigger than line A. Okay, now this question's important because this is similar to what you're going to get on your piece of assessment on Thursday. Alright, use the information in the table to write the following ratios. So what we'll do is complete the perimeter of shape A. Alright, so shape A has a perimeter of 5, 10, 5 and 10. That's 20 and 30. So its perimeter is 30 centimeters. And the area, we do the length by the width, 5 tens, 50 centimeters squared. Alright, now let's have a look at this one here. So what we've got for shape B, so we'll assume that this is shape A, and we'll assume that this is shape B. Alright, so shape B has a perimeter, it's a square, so it's just 4 lots of 5, which is 20 centimeters, and an area, 5 times 5, 25 centimeters squared. Alright, so what we'll do first of all is write the ratio of the perimeter of A to the perimeter of B. So here's the perimeter of A, it's 30 to the perimeter of B, which is 20. Now what we can do is divide both of those numbers by 10, so the highest number that goes into both of them is 10. So another way of writing that ratio is 3 to 2. Alright, let's do the ratio of the area of A, so the area is what we're talking about here, compared to the area of B. So the area of A is 50 to the area of B, which is 25. Now 25 will go into 25 and 25 will also go into 50. So what we'll do is divide 50 by 25 and divide 25 by 25. Now 25 goes into 50 twice, and 25 goes into 25 once. So the ratio is 2 to 1. Alright, ratio of the perimeter of A to the area of A. So we're going perimeter to area. So this one's going to be 30 to 50, which divide both of them by 10 is going to be 3 to 5. Alrighty, and the last one is the ratio of the perimeter of B to the area of B. So we're going to go perimeter to area. So it's going to be 20 to 25. Now again, looking at those numbers, I can see that the highest number that goes into both of them is 5. So I'm going to divide this one by 5, divide this one by 5. And that's 4 to 5 is the most simplified ratio. Alright, one more example I'll do is sometimes you compare and you'll get given, say, a ratio in fraction form. So just say I want to rewrite this fraction, rewrite this ratio, because what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to have only whole numbers. You might remember me saying that right at the outset. Okay, so the way to do it is, what you need to do is get both of these as a common denominator, so with the same number of parts. Okay, so you can see here that the common denominator is going to be 6. So what I'm going to do is rewrite this as times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So let's rewrite this as 2 out of 6 to 3 out of 6. Right, so that basically is comparing 2/6 to 3/6. And if you think about this, if I multiply this by 6 and multiply this by 6, all right, if I do the same multiplication, I just get a ratio of 2 to 3. Okay, so I can easily convert fractions to a whole number comparison, okay, by finding the common denominator and just multiplying that denominator out. So have a crack at the worksheet and see how you go.